Hello everyone, my name is Karim Ganem. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Starname and also the company underlying this technology, which is IOV, Internet of Values. So first of all, thank you for being here today. The event is called the Night of Creators and it's 10 a.m. So this is how we recognize really passionate people. So thank you for that. I wanted to give you a heads up on what's going on today and why it's important. So first of all, I do think that the blockchain technology is really the biggest revolution since the creation or the origin of the internet itself. And so why is that? It's because the technology allows you to create a value or an asset that you can own yourself. You can exchange it, you can send it, you can sell it, and you don't need anyone or any middleman, anyone to give you access to it. And this is super important. And there's going to be a lot of speakers today. Blockchain is much more than cryptocurrency, so don't ask them what cryptocurrency you should buy or anything. These people are really passionate about what they do. They really want to bring a new world, a new economic paradigm. These people are creators. So if you're here, I guess it's very important because I believe that this technology allows each and every one of us to be a creator. You don't have to be a developer, you can be an artist. You can be a designer, you can be who you are and have your unique singularity and create something amazing in this space. So at Starname, what we did is we started with this very simple idea that this technology should be really massively adopted by anyone. So what we did, we turned very complicated address into simple username to use. And our next evolution, we're going to be the first to do that, is to transform the identity into something that you can read in the blockchain. So you will have your unique identity. That's the next thing to allow most project of creators to exist. So I will leave it to Stéphane from Starname, who's going to explain more about the blockchain. I just want to give you just one idea. It takes probably 10,000 hours to become an expert, but it takes 1 second to become a creator. You just have to mark your intention, engage your passion, and do it. Thank you very much.
So, thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Emmanuel Deleau. I'm a French. As you can notice in my accent, I'm sorry, but my English is quite rusty because I haven't spoken for about a few months, so please help me with that. But I'm a French entrepreneur based here in Barcelona for about 15 years, and I'm a friend of the IOV team. I know very well Karim, Stéphane, Agathe, so I'm very pleased to be here hosting. I'm going to be the bad guy today. I'm going to be the one who tells the speaker, go faster because your time is running up, okay? So all these people hosting today, we are going to present you, are the real stars of the event. I'm just going to be here hosting it and give rhythm to the day. But when I accepted to host this event, it's because to me, it was a good way today to give access, simple access to blockchain to everyone. Today, I think that blockchain is really reserved to a small amount of people, but I think that for us, creators and entrepreneurs, I think we're the same. An entrepreneur is a creator, actually. So today, I hope you will stay as long as possible to see all the speaks and all the presentations that we have, because you will learn a lot of things about blockchain and learn how to adapt this technology to your business. It's going to give you ideas about new businesses and how to apply. I mean, today is going to be a day like everything you ever wanted to ask about blockchain. You will know it at the end of the day, okay? So, we're going to have a lot of presentations today, about 20 minutes each. We are going to have breaks, and please take advantage of these breaks to network within each other, because we are all creators here, so you really need to know each other. So we have these breaks, and we have these Q&A sessions. After every 3 or 4 presentations, we have these Q&A sessions, so don't hesitate to ask questions. There are no dumb questions, and if you don't want to ask the question, ask it to me and I will ask the dumb question. No worries about that. Okay? So, we're going to have a hackathon today. I would like to introduce you the students. I'm going to ask you to get on stage. So I have your names here: Alisa, Gustavo, Sarah, and Leo. Welcome. So these 4 creators are going to have to work on a project today, and the brief is I am my own creation, basically. So that's the point. They have to deal with that. Basically, you don't have to be, as Karim said, you don't have to be a tech addict. You don't have to be you have to be a creator. So we give you this brief, and then we'll see at the end of the day who wins the hackathon. Okay? So you'll have the whole day to work about it, and you'll see at the end of the afternoon how it's going. I didn't mention to you that I have founded in Barcelona an ecosystem for entrepreneurs called La Peña. And today we are in 14 cities and 3 countries: Spain, France, and Portugal. And the winner of this hackathon will win a premium membership of La Peña for 1 year. So it will allow you to see as much as you can entrepreneurs in all these 3 countries, meet them, and have advice with them and exchange with them as much as you can and as you want. Okay? So welcome you all. Thank you. So we're going to start our first presentation. Are we ahead on schedule or not? I think we're good. Okay. So, first presentation is with Stéphane Giloppé. Stéphane is the CTO at Starname, dynamic manager and mentor of software development teams, dedicated problem solver building on 20 years of experience as a senior software developer. He has spearheaded, I didn't know this word. Oh. He has spearheaded several technology upgrades across the investment banking landscape, supporting risk, management, back office, securities, and compliance. Stéphane will tell us about the blockchain, why it's disruptive. He will allow us to understand the challenges of blockchain. From crypto to blockchain. This is your presentation. Welcome, Stéphane.
Thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, today we're going to talk about cryptos and blockchain. And I remember 30 years ago, I was at the university sitting in front of my terminal, and I was discovering something truly unique, the internet. It was fantastic. We were exchanging information across time and space. We didn't know what the internet would become 30 years ago. It was still very obscure to most people. So most of us didn't know. Very few knew, and some even thought they knew. And this is what we are going to try to avoid today. We're going to try to avoid to do like Paul Krugman, which is a very smart guy, a Nobel Prize winner. He said that, right? He's obviously terribly wrong because he's judging the impact of a new technology without understanding the shift in paradigm. And at the end of this conversation, hopefully, what we're going to have is enough knowledge so we don't be Paul Krugman. So, as Karim said earlier, why is the blockchain such a disruptive technology? To understand that, we have to go back a little bit in time and think about the internet, because it's very similar. Why the internet was such a big change? The remote doesn't seem to be operating. All right, let's talk about terminology first. It sounds weird to say because the title of this presentation is From Cryptocurrencies to Blockchain, and the two being very commingled, you can't really separate them. But what I'm talking about is focus. Today, most people that are not working and breathing blockchain are thinking cryptocurrencies. And at Starname, we think that we are at the time where a shift is going to be operated in the next year or maybe a couple of years, where we're going to go from cryptocurrencies, meaning people talking about money, to blockchains, where people are going to start talking about services. So here's the terminology. It's very basic, but it's the purpose of this presentation. We're going from 0 to 60. So blockchain is the technology. A blockchain is a decentralized service, meaning a service without central point of control. And the cryptocurrency, we'll see at the end of this presentation that it's the mandatory byproduct to actually have all this thing working in a decentralized fashion. Why the disruption? So let's go back in time and talk a bit about the history of the web. The web is the most well-known application of the internet. It all started in the 90s. When I was in college, we started browsing it. And it was made possible by a few technological advances. The HTML to build pages, HTTP to locate them, and URL to easily navigate from one to the other. And it was really a read-only version of the web. This was the time of MySpace and companies digitalizing their marketing content and put it in on there for people to read. It was already revolutionary because you could share that across time and space. And you could see the potential there. We were thinking people will try to sell stuff and things like that. But then came new advances, just a new tech brick. 3 new technologies that allowed something fundamental, which is for any users to interact with the web. What does it mean? It means the screen in front of you can change appearances based on users' input. And it's very important because this is the era of interactivity. Web 1, everybody wanted to be on the internet. And then in the early 2000s, everybody wanted to be interactive. And interactive meant exactly that. This technology allows you to do some silly things like creating a wall for everybody to come and write things there. At the time, it sounded silly. Who's going to be interested by the things I do on a daily life and post it on a wall and for everybody to see? I don't know, for those who knew this time, this sounded really crazy, right? Nobody could see and foresee the space that social networks are going to take in our daily lives, right? Because today we take pictures of our meals, but back in 2004 or 2005, it sounded silly. So this was the web 2. Read, write, interaction, everything become possible. And you can see the value that has been created by web 2. Billions and billions of dollars created, and mostly those billions of dollars captured by a handful of entities. We all know the names there. So web 3. Web 3 is just another new technology brick, right? The web is like 30 years old, and it's only the 3rd version. So if you leave this conference now, just remember that. It's just the 3rd version of the web. Web 1 was huge. Web 2 was massively disruptive. What's going to be Web 3? What is the technology brick? You probably guessed it. It's the blockchain. So blockchain, why is it so important and what it does? It's allowing people, and Karim said it beautifully, to own a digital asset. And it's a very abstract concept when we're not used to it, but it's the first and main utility of blockchain. Why is it abstract? Because it's not easy to explain, but it sits at the intersection of two fundamental needs of society. One is as old as society itself, is the desire of possession. As soon as people started organizing themselves in society, they wanted to own stuff, right? And what you own is what you are in society. It really defines you in our materialistic society, right? So it's as old as humanity almost. The second thing is a lot more recent, is digital life. Like it or not, we have today a digital life. And I'm not just talking about social networks. I'm talking about all the things that are digital around us and that we forget that they are digital, like your bank transactions, the way they communicate. Today we work remotely. Everything, all that stuff is part of our digital life. But blockchain is at the intersection of those two things. It allows you to own something that is digital. So here's a quote from the CEO of Google. And the important word here is value. Works well. And not duplicable. So what it means to have value? In order for something to have value, it must be possible to own it. If you can't own something, it has no value. The second prerequisite for something to have value is that you cannot duplicate it indefinitely. If I can make 10,000 copies of something, it's worth nothing. what does ownership means? And I'm not talking about digital ownership. I'm talking about owning something, even real. It means you can destroy it. Not very important, but that's one of the things. The important thing is you can transfer that ownership. And when you're transferring this ownership, you transfer the value that's attached to it. And the second thing, I just talked about it, it's important that you cannot give the same thing to two people. If I want to give you this remote, it's important that I cannot copy it and give it to another one. It's called the double spending problem if you want to be bright in society. But blockchain solves these three issues for the digital world. Now, when we are talking about ownership, let's talk a bit about the Web 2, the previous, everything that happens before blockchain. It's written there, it's no surprise, nothing's really yours, right? And let's start with the obvious, your social media accounts. Obviously not yours, right? If you post something that doesn't follow the guidelines, what's gonna happen? You're gonna be censored. And you'll be fine, because most of us live in democracies and we are protected by laws and free speech. But for one, it's not true everywhere. But second, it's not the point, right? Blockchain is not about just avoiding censorship. Blockchain is about capturing the value of what you own. And the data you carefully created with tender and love, for example, in the social networks, who's profiting from them? You don't see the value from the data you created. It has enormous value, billions of dollars. But because you don't own the data that you create, you don't see the benefit for it, right? So see, most people think about blockchain and say, oh, I don't care about blockchain because I'm not being censored. Well, you should care because you are not receiving an ounce of the value you are creating. If you own that data, you'd be taking a cut out of it. Second thing I want to talk about this before Bitcoin is your bank account, the best example. You think you own your balance on your bank account. You legally own the amount of money, but you don't own the balance. The data that representing your bank account is owned by the bank. Best example of that, you can't do a transfer. What you can do is initiate a transfer, right? But the bank will do the transfer because they own the data, right? So you'll be fine with that, again, because you live in a democracy and because we are protected by law, but it's not everywhere the case. If you're in a country at war, that can become a problem, for example. But once again, that's not the point. If you really want to own your money, it's easy. I have an easy solution. You go to the bank, you cash out, and that's it. Your money is yours. And we tend to forget what the internet is doing for us because it's invisible today, right? It's part of our daily lives. But when you cash out, you lost all the good things about the digital aspect of money, right? Ease of transfer, the security, ease of use, all things was lost. Yeah, it would be great to get the best of both worlds, right? To get the best of both worlds. You guessed it, the best of both worlds is the Bitcoin. It's exactly that. It's money as digital that you can take and give to anybody as you want. And it's really the first application of blockchain. And if you think that Bitcoin is just a cryptocurrency among many others, you'd be wrong. You'd be like Paul Krugman, right? You'd be thinking something that's completely wrong. Bitcoin is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the application that is made possible by the blockchain technology. See, last time I checked, there was like about 4,000 blockchains. And they are divided in two categories, roughly, right? There's Bitcoins and the others. Why? Because these blockchains are about what they do for you, right? Bitcoin has only one purpose, it's to hold value. The other blockchain, they build on that service that the blockchain technology is making it possible. What is the service that blockchain technology makes possible? It's that transfer of value I was talking about. So all other blockchains are building on top of that. I can talk about Ethereum, for example. What is Ethereum doing? Ethereum is just allowing people to do these transactions in a trustless environment, meaning I give you something and you give me something in return. This is what we do, right? We usually don't give. We expect something in return. And we want this to be done the same way Bitcoin is being transferred, in a decentralized fashion, in a trustless environment. What does that mean? It doesn't mean there's no trust in this environment. It means there's no need for trust because the trust is innate to the environment. And this is the real massive disruptive feature here. It's never seen before. You're living in an environment where you can give something to someone, expect something in return, and not needing to trust your counterpart. Just pause for a moment, even though I have very little time, and let that sink in. It's massive. What people are going to do with that, I don't know. you know. But the same way, I didn't know what internet was going to have in store for us. But that's the disruptive feature of it. And this is what Ethereum, for example, is doing, is allows us to run smart contracts, which are this exchanges mechanism. Let's talk about another famous example that everybody knows. This company here, Starname, does something very crucial in this new world. It allows you to secure your digital identity. The first step, like Karim said, was to secure your identity, you have to have a name, right? It's easy when you have a name. It gives meaning to things. It's easy to transfer, easy to classify. That's the first step of your digital identity. But it's not, Starname goes way beyond that. We are bridging the decentralized approach of digital identity with the centralized one. With using certificates, for example, you can link your Starname to any proof of trust that exists today in the world. For example, if one day any government issues a digital certificate of your proof of ID, you can link it to your Starname. And then with that proof of ID or a deed, you know, or legal rights or royalties that you would link to Starname, you can expand this with what we're working on today and been working on the last few months is the creator tokens, where after doing the bridge to the existing proof of identity, we're bridging to other blockchains where you're going to be able to also link a proof of ownership on the other blockchain. And you have the full picture of your digital identity. You know, it has names, you can link into existing services, or you can link to other decentralized platform. It doesn't have to be your real name, it could be your avatar, your professional name, whatever. You own it, you create it, you do whatever you want. It's yours to keep and sell and transfer. How these magical things of trustless transaction happen? You know, I have a secret. It's not magical at all. It's worse. It's technical, right? Let's see what's the connection between cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Very few people outside of the world of blockchain understand that. To them, cryptocurrencies are just different flavors of Bitcoin, right? It's just another currency, but it's not. It's actually what makes these trustless transactions possible. And in order to explain that, I'm going to go through a quick example where I buy a bike for 500 euros. We need witnesses to this transaction in order to run. And the way we do this, I have to accelerate because I'm running out of time, Emmanuel tells me. So the way we do this is we gather a lot of witnesses and we incentivize those witnesses to be honest, right? And the way we incentivize the people to be honest is by rewarding them with tokens. And the beauty of that reward that makes the incentive so powerful is that if you're trying to cheat the system, and I can talk about it extend after the talk, if you're trying to cheat the system, the only thing that you will achieve is actually break the system. And the value of the token that you're given as a reward depends on the security of the system. So the beauty of the token is that if you're trying to steal it, if you're trying to be dishonest when we are asking people, how was the transaction? Was the bike 500 euros or 1,000 euros? If you reply 1,000 euros, you're exposing yourself not only to not get a reward, but if enough people reply the same wrong answer, you will break the trust in the system. And when you break the trust in the system, because the token value is only valid because the system is unbreakable, you bring the value of the token to zero. So I'm sorry, it's a bit fast. We can talk about it later, but that's really the massive. This is how cryptocurrencies are linked to the blockchain. One cannot live without the other. The cryptocurrency is not the purpose, that's the mean. The blockchain is the service. This is what you have to remember tonight. I want to thank you on this, and if you have to take only one thing with you from this presentation, is the power of making transaction in an environment when you don't need trust. What are you going to do with it? Because I don't know what the blockchain has in store for us, but it's probably you that will find something disruptive and make the world different from what we live today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stéphane. Thank you very much. I know we could speak during hours with you because you're one of the persons that gives access the easiest way to blockchain and understand all these words. So as I told you, you will have the breaks, the special breaks and the Q&A sessions to spend more time with the speakers. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to take these moments so we don't lose time between presentations. So let's welcome Amaury Salette, our next guest. Sorry. Amaury is head of growth and sales of Lum Network, an open source decentralized protocol that helps businesses to build authentic trust with their customers. He is specializing on reviews that secure consumers from fraud, verify authenticity, and provide detailed feedback of the product. Amaury is going to speak about the reward system of the reviews within the Lum Network, reward, and the new currency. I will go ahead. I will tell you when you have 5 minutes left, so we can...
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you. Well.
Hi, everyone. Well, I know that you are very disappointed. I know that you all came today to meet this incredible woman, Sarah-Diane Eck, which is the founder of the Lum Network. Unfortunately, she couldn't come, so well, you have to deal with me. Sorry. My name is Amaury. I'm part of the Lum Network team, and today I will present to you why reward is the new currency. I guess that every one of you in the room own cryptocurrencies. That means every one of you knows the currency's issues. But do you know what was the first form of money on Earth? Well, 5,000 years ago in Egypt, the first form of money was reward. And the most impressive thing is that 5,000 years ago in Egypt, the first form of money is really similar to the reward, to the loyalty system that we experienced every day. When you came here, you take a plane, your airlines company has a loyalty program. You spend the night in a hotel, the hotel has a loyalty program. When you go out and you grab a Starbucks, Starbucks obviously has a loyalty program. And so all of these loyalty programs that you are experiencing in your everyday lives are very similar to the first form of money 5,000 years ago. In 2016, at Lum Network, we had a vision. We had the vision that one day people will be rewarded by brands in crypto. One day, people will be rewarded by brands in crypto. So that's why we crafted the Lum. So what is the Lum? Lum is basically a cryptocurrency. But Lum is becoming the universal crypto reward. The universal crypto reward. Why? Because we made it simple for users. We made it simple for users to hold it, to use it. And you know, at Lum Network, it's one of our biggest issues is user experience. Lum is not just a simple token. It's not a decentralized application. No. Lum, it's really a protocol asset. Lum is the fuel of the Lum Network. Okay, thank you. So now, what is Lum Network? Well, Lum Network is a layer 1 protocol based on Cosmos SDK. We chose the Cosmos ecosystem because it allows us to have our own blockchain and our own governance system, which is really important for us. Moreover, we use the delegated proof of stake. The delegated proof of stake is very efficient in terms of energy consumptions, and I know that we all love green blockchains, and it's really efficient in terms of transaction fees. And that's really important for us because our first use case is in reward. And now you will be rewarded by brands, and sometimes it can be 100 euro, but sometimes it can also be just a few cents. So the transaction fees is actually a big issue. So the Lum Network is a protocol built to host open source tools for brands and real-life businesses. Real-life businesses. This is really important because usage is key. At Lum Network, we are convinced that usage is key. You know, the success of a protocol belongs to its users, its holders. Well, a good crypto is a used crypto. So how we make to have usage on the Lum? Last year, we concluded a partnership with Skippers. Skippers is a group that leads the rating and review space. It's called UGC, User Generated Content. And I can tell you, UGC is a big, big industry. Skippers have brands all around the world, in 45 countries. In France, you have Avis Vérifié. In the US, it's verified reviews. And aquí, en España, es opiniones verificadas. Basically, Skipper's job is to collect reviews after a purchase and to publish it on a website. They act as a third party. Why? Because in this space, you need trust. And what we are doing is we are increasing the trust because we based the rating system, the rating and review system, on the blockchain. Thus, every review is linked to a purchase. And bad reviews cannot be hidden or deleted because it's public, because it's on the blockchain. So Lum stamp and authenticate genuine UGC on chain, on the Lum Network blockchain. But you know, that's not the most impressive part of our job with Skippers. The most impressive part is that we reward users for good quality content. The UGC space has very low return rate. That means when you made a purchase, like 5 days later, you received a mail. What do you think about your purchase? Would you like to give your opinion on it? But just very few people give their opinion. And that's a problem. The other problem is the only people who give their opinion are either people who are very satisfied or very dissatisfied, especially in France. So, the other issue is that most of the reviews are not really relevant. You know, last week, I was buying a washing machine. It's not really interesting, but the first review was, delivery okay, thanks. Well, that don't help me that much. So what we are doing at Lum is that we are giving crypto to reward people for the content they give to brands. And we are rewarding them even if it's a 1-star or a 5-star review. Because brands need reviews. Obviously, because reviews will raise their sales, but also because reviews give them like feedbacks. And with all these feedbacks, they can improve their product and services. Doing this, we are solving a real pain point. So yes, this use case with Skippers was just launched 2 weeks ago. And the first results are amazing. I mean, for real, amazing. And Skippers Group is collecting 30 million reviews per year. So through this, we're going to bring mass adoption. And you know, that's our goal at Lum Network. And I think all of us today is to bring mass adoption. You know, we are going to bring non-crypto people to the Lum. Our goal, making the number of no-coiners decreasing deeply. And so what's next? So first, obviously, we're going to contact all the skippers competitors, all the UGC space, because we strongly believe that it's a huge space and all the trust we can bring to them will be very valuable. But also, on the Lum Network system, we are now able to mint and sell NFT, because we strongly believe that the NFT technology will also bring mass adoption to all the people. So we are thinking a lot since months, and we decided to make NFTs for brands. Why NFTs for brands? Because today, NFT needs to develop a special relationship with their most loyal customers. I'm sure you all know the Pareto principle, the 20%, 80%. A study made by Forbes shows that this Pareto principle applies perfectly for the brands, as 20% of their customers generate 80% of their total revenue. So yes, obviously, brands need to develop a special relationship with these 20% of customers. At Lum Network, we are convinced that NFT enable a more openly customer-centric approach than traditional loyalty cards. Why? Because NFTs will bring huge value to the customers, which in return will bring huge value to the brand. We are highly convinced that NFTs enable a win-win situation between brands and customers. And it's a bit revolutionary. But we also believe that if we want NFTs to bring mass adoption, the NFTs should have utility. I won't speak about all these NFT collections we've seen these days, but you know, brands must have a long-term vision. So they should grant the NFTs holders real benefits, exclusive benefits. These last days, we are speaking with a lot of brands, few brands. And tomorrow, NFTs holder will be rewarded in Lum for few actions they can make. Obviously, the purchase they make, but also the purchase they generated around them through referral or affiliation, and many other actions. Yesterday, I was speaking with one brand whose aim is to send prototype to users, to NFT holders, to get that feedback. Imagine, you have a brand that you love, that sends you a product that's not yet on the market, and they want your feedback on it. That's pretty cool. And most of it, you will be rewarded in Lum for it. That's great, no? And one last thing about it is that Web3 is about community. So brands will organize special events for the NFTs holders. Then you're going to create an exclusive club. So our first NFT use case is going to be is to consider the NFT as a card of an exclusive club, a brand club. And so to finish, what's our vision about NFTs? Beyond those retail use cases, the Lum Network protocol aims to host creators from various fields: music, gaming, environment. You know, we are the layer for creators. And as long as we pursue our mission to bring mass adoption, we will continue to build. Thank you.
Thank you, Amaury. Very nice. Sharp on schedule. Thank you very much. 1 minute early. Fantastic. So let us welcome Ignacio Aguirre. Ignacio is CMO, crypto marketer, growth hacker, and Scorechain, responsible for positioning Scorechain and its blockchain analytics platform in the different blockchains. Scorechain provides AML and compliance solutions for cryptocurrencies. It serves customers worldwide, mainly cryptocurrencies companies, exchange platforms, OTC trading desks, ICOs, private banks, audit firms, and custodians. The company has helped more than 200 customers from more than 45 countries. Ignacio will tell us what beer, not the one you expect, and Bitcoin have in common, and will give us an insight of the evolution of crypto compliance. Welcome, Ignacio.
Thank you. Good. Perfect. Well, good morning to everyone. It's nice to see some friendly faces that I met yesterday and some people who I don't know today. But today I'm going to be basically, as they said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the evolution of crypto compliance and what's happening in the market. Okay. Perfect. So basically my idea today is to give you a little bit of where we are today, what's been the evolution, and how we have, where are we going. I think some of the stuff Karim talked about, having this ownership of your privacy and have the KYC of the stuff that is online is very important. And also compliance needs to come at some point. So basically here's who loves compliance here? Anyone loves compliance? Okay, no, so maybe I'll just leave. But who likes beer? Yeah, okay, perfect. Yes, good. So basically, what I want to talk about a little is what do beer and Bitcoin have in common? Anyone? Yesterday you told me some, no. Any guess? Yes, it's yellow, well, at least that part, but no. So basically, what do Bitcoin and cryptocurrency have in common with beer? So I'm a beer brewer. I have a nano brewery in my basement, so I brew beers every month. And something when I started brewing, one of the things that I was asking people, like, what is important for you? And they were saying, the process needs to be so clean. And I was like, oh my God, you're so boring. You know, because the process needs to be so clean. That's what you're gonna tell me? Like, why? And then now that I've been brewing for more than 5 years, if someone asks me, I don't tell them that, but inside me, I do feel that it's a part of the process. When you're brewing, you need to sanitize every single part of the equipment. You need to make sure that everything is fully sanitized. Everything needs to be super clean. Why? Because if it's not, then you might be able to get some bad things into your beer, and then it will get infected. And when you open it and you give a sip, you're not going to have a really good experience. So what happens? The same thing with crypto businesses. What happens? If you don't have a proper compliance structure, what happens? Then tainted coins or coins that come from money laundering, terrorism come into your business, and then it just tainted. So what happens? I mean, you're going to have problems because you're going to have issues with regulators. You're going to have issues with some of the coins that are not, you could get like requests, you could get into so much problems. So I think it's important before I start to say that crypto is getting massive adoption. So we're seeing exchanges just going up. We're seeing a lot of adoption. For example, the other day I was they were talking about how banks own your money. So I wanted to pay for some sushi and my card was not working. And I told my wife, hey, can you send me some money to the other bank accounts? Like, no, because it's Saturday. And I was like, wow. But then I said, can you send me some Ethereum into my into my account, my exchange account, and I put it in my card, and I was able to pay. So that's when you own the money, because you have it, it's on you. So it's getting more adoption, so it's important to understand that there needs to be some compliance within the crypto businesses in order to get massive adoption. So this is what, like when I remember in the movies when someone would come to a bank and say like, hey, I have $1 million. This is kind of like what it looked like, right? You come to a bank, you know, it's the briefcase, they open it up and they're like, hey, here's my money, can you please put it into an account? So, I mean, when you think about this, even if you come and you have a contract of something that you solve, you couldn't really tag this money into this specific solve, because I could go with this money and have a contract for something else, but it couldn't be related to that money. It could be other money. So at the end, they will have someone in the bank, they would check the contract, and they will say, look, okay, perfect, yes. So they put the money in your bank. But now, I think sometimes you see this, and this is what $1 million looks like, right? It's transferable, and you can have it in your pocket. But what's happening now? Because as they mentioned, we're a crypto compliance company. So we work with crypto businesses, crypto native businesses, which were born with crypto, so they don't have a problem understanding. But I work a lot with a lot of banks, and basically they're saying like, what is this? Like, because they have been running this AML process, anti-money laundering process, with fiat money for 20 years. And all of a sudden they have like these Bitcoin, Ethereum things. And when I talk to them, I think they actually think I'm crazy, you know? And you're very passionate about it. And they're like, I'm not buying this, but this is happening. So basically a lot of customers come to us, a lot of banks are coming and saying, listen, we have some customers who want us to take their Bitcoin. Or they want us to have the custody of their coins. So what happens? When they come with a ledger, but they don't know what to do. So the important part is to know when, can you go one back? So the important part is to understand the processes. Give me just a second. To understand the processes of how banks will have to deal with this when the time comes. So if I go to the next, this is the evolution of, let's say, crypto in the last couple of years. So the crypto regulation started in 2018 when the first rules were created by the FATF. When they started, probably they saw a big bump in the market capital. So I think it went up to kind of like 75 billion, or I don't really see the data there, but that's when they released the first rules in order of what needs to be done with virtual assets, and what do virtual asset service providers need to do in order to comply with these AML things. So if we go a little bit farther, we can see September last year, this is just one example, South Korea implemented their first laws of crypto compliance. So basically there was 65 exchanges who were operating at the moment, and when they applied the laws, only 25 were able to still operate. The other 40 actually had to go through a process and rethink about what was their strategy in order to do it. So we see that a lot of countries are starting to apply with these AML processes. Even not everyone is, but I think it's going to become kind of a domino effect. You see the big, I mean, countries like Germany, Switzerland. You see all these countries that already have their regulations, and I think it's just time. We're just waiting for time to come until every other country does it. The same month, September. El Salvador accepted Bitcoin as a legal tender, which was actually very big. Then a couple of months ago, the first exchange was accepted by Banco de España, which was actually regulated. So, I mean, you can see things coming. And then, actually, in the last keynote, they were talking about NFTs and how companies and brands are jumping into the industry. So we saw Gucci, I think 1 month ago, they just announced that they're going to accept Bitcoin. I mean, this is big, because you see that South Korea, Germany, Switzerland accepted crypto compliance, and then you would just expect that the rest of the countries are going to do the same. So do you think when Gucci said, we're accepting Bitcoin, then, I don't know, Louis Vuitton or Burberry is going to just sit down? They're going to say, I want to accept Bitcoin too. I don't want to miss a part of this. And then even more direct about the NFTs, Prada just announced last week that they will issue an NFT with some of the purchase of their top-end products. And what does this help? Because this will gonna bring authenticity to the product. If you tomorrow want to sell your bag, you could even show that it's a real bag because you do own the NFT. So it's important to understand that compliance is coming. So it's a matter of adopting early and be sure that you can go through it, because it's not as simple, and it's not just turning from fiat into blockchain and into cryptocurrencies, because it's a totally different aspect. So basically, what I was talking about is FATF, which is it's like the rules that they normally issue of what is recommended for virtual asset service providers to put in place into their compliance teams. They did it, as I said, in October 2018. The latest update that they did is in July 2021, which was very important because there's this new thing called travel rule. Anyone here knows about travel rule? Okay, perfect. So you guys are going to understand what I'm going to say. No, but then travel rule is just something that they're issuing that when two exchanges have a transaction between each other, they're going to have to share the information of their customers. So as I mentioned before, FCA is the regulator, for example, for the UK, BaFin for Germany, FinCEN US, FINMA for Switzerland. So FATF are the rules that should apply everywhere, but if there's not a regulator in place or they don't have specific regulations, like in a lot of countries, you don't actually have to go through this process. But I'm pretty sure that it's going to keep on evolving and evolving. Can we go to the next? So as I told you, travel rule is something that's going to be big this year. In some countries, it's already applying. So this means that if you have your money in Swissborg or in Binance and you do an exchange, both of the BASPs need to exchange the data from the people so that they know who is the guys that are interacting within the money. So this is going to be, this is the latest of the most important advances that are coming. So I mean, if you have your own wallet, your own cold wallet, you're not going to have to do it. But if you have your money within one of the exchanges, you will have to. They will have to provide this KYC data. So who we are? We're Scorechain is a Luxembourgish company. It was established in 2015. Our CEO told me the other day that when he founded it in 2015, he was sure that compliance was coming to cryptocurrencies very soon. But obviously, it took a little more time than he expected. So as I said, we're headquartered in Luxembourg. We have offices in Paris too. We're backed by European VCs, and we're very active in the blockchain working groups. So we are currently talking to the regulators and to the blockchain working group so that we can have the most advanced and the most new upcoming rules applied to our systems. So basically, as I mentioned, we work with crypto businesses and financial institutions. So when we talk about banks, it's more about maybe onboarding clients and checking what, like if someone comes, as I said, with a ledger that they can help them. And also crypto businesses, for example, if it's an exchange, we can help them with the AML compliance. And it's more like with a more massive or more, let's say, massive adoption where they have more volume transactions. So this is what I mentioned. I think one of the most scary things for some businesses which are not, let's say, crypto native is when someone comes and gives them a 35 character line and said like, here's my money and I want to send it to your bank. So I think it's kind of scary and it's kind of hard when you talk to compliance officers, because they're like, the problem is it just crashes our brain. It's like we're not used to this. So I think part of our job is to help them to understand what you can do and what can be done in order to do this. So I'm going to go through an example so you guys can see. For example, let's say that this guy would have actually come with me into the bank and said, so listen, I have 1 million euros and I want to put it into your bank. So what would I do? I would go into the platform and I would type this address. Probably I would copy it, because when I don't know if anyone has tried to write like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum address and you're like X, but is this a 0 or an O? And then you say like, oh, I hope I don't type it wrong, because then the funds are going to someone else who's going to be happy. But basically you type the address, you search for it, and the first thing, this would be like the way you would do it if it was like manual, but I would go through this and the first thing I would see is risk indicators. wow, this is really good, I guess. I mean, you're in a bank, they want to put your money, and the first thing I see is that the money comes from dark web, mixing service, and suspicious activity. So this couldn't be good, you know? You would be like, oh, well, maybe it could be something normal. Then I see behavioral risks. They're using mixing patterns, which is one of the most used techniques for hackers to launder the money. And then I see that it comes from a country at risk from Russia. So, oof, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to onboard him, but let's give him a little bit of the... So then I go in and I see that actually the money that comes from the dark web, it's coming from Silk Road, a drug marketplace. Wow, I don't think that's very clean. So then you would check and say, okay, but maybe it's like these funds are not that, I mean, maybe it's just a small portion and it was a scam or part of a hack. But he also has some money that came from an exploit, which means a hack. So this is not looking good for him. Can we go to the next, please? So then, I mean, you would be able to check and see like what's the balance in the account, how much was received, how much was sent, and then you can see all the exchanges or the places where the money came from. So basically, just as an overall, if it's green, if it's red, yellow, it means green, obviously it's good, yellow, it could be risky, and red, it means low. So basically, we have a risk scoring system which goes from 1 until 100. Above 70, normally it's okay. Between 70 and 30, it could be kind of risky, and if it's below 30, we normally mean, because we have an algorithm who calculates the risk. So if it's red, it means that it's probably something that is not good within the wallet. We normally check up to 100 hops back in the platform, or if it's API, even 1,000 hops. So we can see all this history of where this money has come from. Can we go to the next, please? And basically, what means when it's green? If I use this as an example, we have Kraken. So Kraken is an exchange, and we can see we do all the due diligence in each one of the exchanges, so we can know if they're following proper protocols, if they have a compliance officer, if they're regulated, if they allow, like for example here, they do allow anonymous coin transactions. So this is like kind of like a red flag. So this is how we try to take everything into account in order to check the risk. Can you go to the next? And also, okay. And also we have an exploration tool. So this means that the bank can actually go into this specific wallet and do hops back and hops forward. So you can actually see this wallet. So I can go one step back and I can see where the money is coming from. But also, can you give one more? We can do one hop forward. So in this case, for example, you can match against different type of activities. So in this case, you can see that this wallet sends some money to a Hamas address. So if I were a bank and the customer would come with this wallet, I would probably say no, you know. But the idea is, I mean, I talked to you about this in 5 minutes, which was something that normally would take someone, a compliance officer, to do this check, maybe let's say 5-10 minutes. So can we go to next? So the idea is there's basically just around 330,000 Bitcoin transactions every day. So Stéphane said that there's like 4,000 different blockchains. So you can imagine when an exchange has this massive amount of volume transactions, it's very hard to take care of it, and even manually, because I mean, if you would have at least 100,000 transactions, it would be hard to have, I don't know, like 35,000 people working every day, checking every transaction. So that's why we have APIs. So basically our tool pretty much helps compliance teams to build proper strategies in order to mitigate the risks from the exchanges. And I think the most important part is to think that AML is something that is like the AML protocols have been around. Your bank accounts, everything has had these processes. So now it's just a matter of having the proper adoption. And I think that now that we're going more massive and the massive adoption is just growing, you know, it's if you see the amount of transactions from 1 year apart until today, it's just unbelievable. So that's why we're around, and we're helping crypto businesses to have, as I mentioned, when you build your business, make sure everything is sanitized. So you have a business where you are not going to have to run into problems with the authorities and with the regulators and basically, well, Thank you for listening to me talking about compliance. I think that now maybe more people, anyone loves compliance now? Yay! Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ignacio. The three of you, you can stay because we're going to have a short Q&A session. So maybe I will ask the three speakers to get on stage, and they're at your disposal if you have any question. And then after we'll have a short break if you want to have some coffee or water or anything. And I would like to thank you all because we are 2 minutes early on the schedule, which is really, really nice for this kind of events. First question.
Yes, good morning. First of all, thank you very much, all of you, for your very interesting and bright presentation. I think each of you has a very, very interesting business. I was not deluded, Amaury, by your presentation. And to answer to you, Ignacio, I don't like at all compliance. I had to deal during all my life with compliance, but I do recognize, I'm a banker, I do recognize that compliance is super key in any kind of transaction. Therefore, of course, Scorechain is a very important business model. But my first question will be for you, Amaury, regarding your business model. As I know quite well the business model of Starname, which is quite important. But my first question is for you, Amaury. During your presentation, you mentioned that your business is very important because you are rewarding brands distributing Lum token. Could you elaborate a little bit more on your tokenomics? Because you're a distributed token, but how do you make money? Because if you only distribute, how do you get your money to be able to distribute your token? Do you make contract with brands? Do they pay you to give these rewards? Is this the business model?
Yeah, basically it's just it. Yeah, every time we reward a user, the brand buy the reward to us. So it's just like that, as simple as it is. And you know, we built a gateway, which is like a turnkey solution for every brand, and to deal with us without being involved in any blockchain system. You know, it's a no-brainer for legal account and technical issues for brands. You know, through our gateway, they give us fiat, and they can reward their users.
Another question? Another question?
I'm also curious about the Lum, the rewarding system. How do you deal with the malicious reviews?
Every review is reviewed before being published to be compliant, and so the skippers team does it. You know, they act like a third party, independent party, to like filter these malicious reviews.
Okay.
Maybe we have a question for the other speakers. Amaury is very
yeah,
successful.
I'm available after for any of the questions.
I have two questions for you guys. Just first, a quick question, Ignacio. You mentioned that there's 300,000 transactions of Bitcoin, but are unique transactions, or the total amount of Bitcoin that is transaction every day is 300,000?
No, this means that there's between 300,000 and 330,000 transactions done every day. This means that that people interacting and sending, or so this means that in the blockchain, 300,000 let's say transactions are registered in the every day.
But that doesn't mean that it's 300,000 Bitcoins.
No.
Okay, perfect. And then for you, Stéphane, you kept saying that Bitcoin might be like the tip of the iceberg in this whole blockchain reality, and I'd like to ask you if you could give us other examples in other industries that the blockchain will actually make a huge impact. I don't know, any kind of industry you think about?
Yeah, it's. I wanna go back 30 years. It's like asking what's gonna be the impact on the industries on the internet. right? Today, there's no industry that hasn't been impacted by internet. The fundamental service that blockchain is giving of being able to exchange value in a trustless environment is going to impact all industries. Which industries are mostly impacted today? We just went through the DeFi and institution adoption. So the banking business is heavily impacted. I mean, if you looked at the markets 3 months ago, the total value locked was counted in thousands of billions of dollars. Those thousands of billions of dollars, some were created, but some are coming from the traditional system. And the traditional system means the bank. So banks are impacted because investment banking money came out of their wallet and went to crypto. So the first impact was obviously in the financial sector, but you can see real use cases like the Lum Network. You see also a lot of use cases in where transparency is important, like supply chain, where the public ledger aspect of blockchain is being used. The fact that you can change the data in it is being used there for. It's hard to say because blockchain creates a lot of opportunities. What people are going to do is these opportunities are hard to imagine, but we can only speculate that it's going to be very that the magnitude of the change will be important.
But at least if I just jump in, I think gaming, for example, today gaming and sports is, I think, something that is booming. You see the clubs coming out with these tokens, and at the end, if you see everything that is mixing and play to earn, but I think today gaming and sports is one of the biggest. And we see, normally we work with banks and with exchanges and more traditional finance institutions, assets managers, but we're starting to see people like in the gaming industry to start coming to us because it's just getting massive. But as Stéphane said,
I completely second that. I completely second what you're saying. And the funny thing is that the major gaming manufacturers today, they're not interested by blockchain because they have their own ecosystem. So you will see a lot of new players coming in the play to earn, in the GameFi ecosystem. And I completely second that it's the next big wave.
Thank you. Any more questions before the break? Yes. And after, I will have a question for you, Stéphane, after that.
Sorry, just a combined question for you, Ignacio and Stéphane. I know that Starname has done the human readable address to simplify usage of blockchain and mass adoption. You, in your company, meaning compliance, is it something that you can use a simple readable address to simplify KYC in order to do quickly compliance? Do you have cooperation between both of you?
You know, Eric, Starname integrates Scorechain, so you can put a score on a BTC address that you have named with Starname.
That was a good question.
That was a good question. There was the opportunity to say that.
That was a great question.
Great to say.
Good. Any more questions? No? I've written one seeing your presentation, Stéphane.
Yeah.
With the user perspective, I was thinking about the myriad of assets that one have to hold and follow up, and the idea of Web3 and its plurality. How do you think this could be made simpler to join and follow up, considering the user perspective?
I'm not sure I get it. I understand your question. Yeah.
Est-ce que Karim est là?
Too many. You think about too many assets, right?
Yeah, too many assets.
I have too many digital assets.
Is there a simple way, the simplest way for me to hold all my assets on my user perspective? Mostly not knowing exactly, with no technical background, with what would be the easiest way for me to hold all my assets in one place?
You can. Obviously, you have different possibilities to hold your assets, right? But what you're asking is really how to recognize them and classify them. It sounds like a big plug for Starname, but you can classify them with Starname, obviously, right? You can have families of assets within one Starname. That's
okay.
That's the beauty of the thing. You can have your main part of the Starname and then duplicate the front part of the name, and you'd be there. That would
Great.
be easy to classify.
Fantastic. Thank you very much to
Thank
the
you.
three of you. Now we're going to have a half an hour break so we can have coffee, do anything. Please feel free to use this moment to network and to know each other a little bit more, to exchange. All our speakers are here, and every 3 or 4
Like it.
speaks, we will have these Q&A sessions and little break. See you in 30 minutes.
So the sanitation of